So my name is Acharya Perik. Acharya is a title for masters in Buddhism. In Tibetan we call Lopen. Can you introduce a bit yourself?
Sure. My name is Matthew.
Matthew.
I come from the United States.
United States.
This is my third visit to Nepal.
Third visit.
I'm happy to be here. And I'm a student of Buddhism.
Okay. So have you been studying from before, or
Yes.
how much ago or so?
About 5 years.
5 years. That's impressive. Okay. And also few teachers which you kind of learned or studied with.
So there's not really a center here where I live, but mostly Western teachers.
Western teachers.
Children.
Okay. So not much with Tibetan teachers.
That's very different.
Yeah. And yourself?
Yes, my name is Kundi.
Kundi?
Kundi.
Okay.
I come from France.
Yeah. You are the one who messaged me.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I come from France, and actually I'm in Nepal October. In fact, I'm working as volunteer in the school, Buddhist school in Sundarija.
Yeah.
And before to come in Nepal, I didn't know a lot about Buddhism.
Okay.
Now more.
I think the Buddhist school name starts with Payul.
Yes.
So it's like my own lineage also, same lineage.
Yes.
I probably I know the head of that monastery.
Yeah,
Also, yeah.
probably because Arlen.
Yeah, but we place where we studied from is the same place. So the teacher of the Payul, the founder of the Payul.
Yes. Okay.
And herself.
Sorry. Yeah. So I'm also volunteering in the same school with Arlen. I come from France.
Okay.
My name is Elisa.
Elisa.
And I don't know a lot about Buddhism, but I'm really interested in the way of living. So I did 10 days in a Buddhism community in Thailand, but it was with Western people. And I did a Vipassana, but it's not really Buddhism, it's more meditation, but it's kind of same good way of thinking. And I hope I'm gonna learn more in Nepal.
Okay, thank you everybody. So, as you have arrived in the second day, so I will try to go briefly for yesterday's program. And mainly the first one was to introduce myself, and as I already have said my name, apart from that, and also I have made it clear that the lineage is from Payul. It is a very huge monastery in South India. It's called Namdroling Monastery, and the founder of that big monastery is Penor Rinpoche, and or his holiness Penor Rinpoche, who passed away like almost 9-10 years ago. And so that's where I studied, and I completed my studies in 2014, and from then on, like it's been like 4 years, I'm trying to spread Dharma in the society, to the people, and for that purpose I have been studying here to promote the teachings of Buddhism, and also like the way of life introduced by Buddhism, and which most of the people need to know, otherwise people's life is getting like into hell nowadays. Very difficult for many people. And also like introducing them. My parents also, like my father belongs to, or he was from the Mustang district. He is from Mustang district of Nepal, one of the most popular trekking destination of Nepal. And my mother is Tibetan, and also like I am a little bit easy with English, because before monastery I went to the boarding school we call in Nepal, and I went the primary schooling in Nepal. So I think that's all for my introduction, and after that another main point is the history of Buddhism and Tibetan Buddhism in brief, and this part I think you also pretty much know. The Buddhism, the founder of Buddhism, Buddha, as he was born in a place called Lumbini, which was 2600 years ago, and his father was King Sudodhan, and his mother was Maya Devi, and we don't need to go into detail with all his biography, and the main factor for Buddha to turn his like royal life into renunciated life was when he was young prince, and when he went into his kingdom, and when he saw these three kinds of appearance of people, because as the royal priest has told the king Sudodhana that this prince will either become a great emperor, or even bigger possibility is that he will turn into great master, great leader, which will show a way to all the people in the world, and he will in that case he will like renunciate from his royal life. So as it was foretold by the priest also, and that's why the king was always trying to protect his prince from seeing the ordinary people with ordinary lives, and always he was like into some kind of prison, which was pleasurable, but it was a prison. So he went, when he wanted to go into the kingdom one day with his charioteer Channa or Chandaka, someone say Chandaka, someone Channa. So when he went in the kingdom, he saw these three appearances. One person who was really ill, very sick. Second was very old, carrying a stick and moving like this. And third one, he saw people going into funeral carrying a basket or a bed of dead person, and 4 people carry. That was the tradition here in whole of India and Nepal at that time. So 4 people carrying in the shoulder the dead body and taking into the cemetery place. So that's how his mind turned. Even though, like from his childhood also, he's always tried to go into quiet place and try to meditate. So that was kind of his destiny. And so he, after seeing those appearances, and one version of story also says that he also saw one yogi or renunciated, a sannyasi, it's called in Indian and Nepali language, sannyasi, which means renunciated from the worldly life, materialistic life, or we can say lay people life. So which only goes into like a traveler everywhere. They don't have a permanent place to live. They don't have family. They don't have belongings and wealth. They only keep traveling and with some kind of yellow, red or white robes. And the main source of getting food is always begging for alms. And that's what we call a sannyasi. In general, renunciating from materialistic life, we call it sannyasi. So after this sannyasi, and it was kind of like a clue to him that this is probably the solution, because the other 3 were the problems. Like the first one, getting burned, it was a problem in the first case, and secondly, the other 3 appearance of people getting ill, people getting old, and people getting dead. So seeing those appearances, he also saw the clue of sannyasi, according to one version of the story. So that's how he decided to give up his royal life, run away from his palace, and that's how he went into the jungle, forest, and which was like nowadays into almost near the Bodh Gaya. The most important pilgrimage of the Buddhist people is Bodh Gaya. So he reached there. It's like 2 kilometers away from, or 3 kilometers away from the Bodh Gaya. It's very near Bodh Gaya. So there he went, and on the way he met maybe many teachers to learn, and many teachers of Hinduism and Veda, Upanishad, and all of them could not satisfy with him, because the main motive of running away from his palace was to get an answer. Because when he saw those appearances, he asked to himself and to his charioteer that as the ordinary people are getting sick, ill and dying, so is it so that we royal people don't die? Is it so that we royal people do not get sick? And that's kind of question he was asking to himself and the charioteer Charna replied with answer that it's not so, everybody has to die. There is no maybe silent at the mobile.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Do you allow me to record my mic
Sure.
and take some photos?
Sure. So, as he asked to the charioteer, and he got replied that it's not so that royal people do not die or get sick. It's same for everybody. So after he got to know this, and he got really worried. He got like very grieved, because everybody has to die, everybody has to sick. So why is so that nobody has tried to get a solution for this? Because that's the biggest problem for everybody. Even Buddha and some of other Tibetan masters also have said that, like when people do all of those like evil things or unjustifiable things, like, or trying to only accumulate as much as wealth, trying to be like like Donald Trump, like even though like the owner of Microsoft, maybe Bill Gates, there's someone like him, even though he does very much social works also, but I'm just regarding with the wealthy people. So if someone has no need to or do not have to die, then there is maybe even Buddha himself would try to get those materialistic success, because you are here to stay forever. Then there is no problem getting all kinds of pleasurable facilities, but we have to die ultimately, and that's why. So he himself also thought, and also felt the need to get a solution for this, and especially the death factor. And that's why he decided to run away from the palace and try to find the solution. And that was the motive why he went into the jungle. He also met many teachers on the way, and teachers of Hinduism, Vedas, all of them taught him whatever they know. I couldn't satisfy him, because with their teachings, he couldn't find any solution. There was no solution in the answers or the teachings. And the last people he met was the Panchabhadra, or 5 noble people, that was doing asceticism near the Bodh Gaya. And the asceticism, they were like fasting forever until they were there for the same motives, but they were practicing in their own way. There was fasting until they get the solution, and trying to kind of torture themselves with their body, so that they could get a liberation, they could find liberation. And whatever interaction they got, Buddha got from them, and it was probably the best probable solution that he could find. And he practiced with them for 6 years, fasting and sort of meditating as well. So, and then one day he ate food. After 6 years, he ate food, and the reason to eat food was, firstly, there's like from one version of the story, it says like a lady playing the traditional guitar of India is not the same guitar, like they call it veena, down, down, this kind of sound. Anyway, it's traditional guitar, or sitar, they call it sitar maybe also. So the lady playing that instrument, and also singing with the lyrics which sounded like this. And the lyrics was based, the meaning of the lyrics based was on the instrument itself. Like if you tighten the strings of the sitar, then there will no good sound be produced. And if the strings is kept loose, then also there will no good sound be produced. And that's how it was kind of a hint to him that he was going into probably wrong way, because they were probably practicing extremism, because that was in extremism, torturing themselves, going through the pain, and that's how he got the hint. And another thing, and also a lady called Sujata brought the food, which was called a kheer, with rice mixed with milk, and then he ate the kheer. And then the five partners, the five noble beings, when they saw him eating food, and they saw now he has gave up the mission. Now he has given up the mission also. Now he is not like eligible for practicing with us. So let's leave him. And they went to Varanasi, far away from the Bodh Gaya. So if you have visited Varanasi, there is the place called Sarnath, and there is Dhamek Stupa over there. That's where they went, and they started practicing their asceticism again. But Buddha, soon after they left him to the Bodh Gaya, and he sat in the Bodhi tree, which is still there alive from 2600 years ago. The tree, which was even elder than Buddha, is still alive there now. And in that Bodhi tree, he sat one night, and leaving other details of the story, he found enlightenment. He became Buddha. After he became Buddha, the first duty he felt was to share the wisdom with the earlier partners, because they were the one willing to get the solution. So he went to Varanasi. He convinced them with his teaching, and also after that, many other spiritual and religious teachers, kings, he convinced everybody, and that's how he spread the knowledge of Buddhism, or we can say the solution he was trying to find. And the solution he found, which he shared with his five partners, was the Four Noble Truths. And the Four Noble Truths is the next teaching. So that's how we can say Buddhism was found. And then there's another short story we can talk about is Tibetan Buddhism, because I also belong to Tibetan Buddhism. So also long after Buddha passed away, or Buddha attained nirvana, Buddhism was almost probable to get destroyed in India. There was already one Hindu society, and also there was a Muslim invasion into India, and that's how even Muslim invasion was destroying Hinduism as well, and also Hinduism and Muslim invasion was kind of destroying Buddhism and everything related with Buddhism. Anyways, before everything got destructed, in Tibetan, in the just around 7th century, there was this king called Songtsen Gampo, and his also supposed to be, like we consider His Holiness Dalai Lama the 14th one, but even long before 14th one, he is also considered to be one of the emanation of the compassionate one, like he is compassionate one. And Dalai Lama is also supposed to be the emanation or the emanation of the compassionate one. And the Songtsen Gampo, he also was, we can say, a spiritual king, a dharma king, and he also brought two princes as his queen, one from Nepal and one from China, and both were a daughter of Buddhist king, because as we see many Hindu temples in Kathmandu, but before like few centuries ago, it is supposed that most of them were just Buddhist, because it was kind of Buddhist kingdom over here. Anyways, at that time, the king who was leading or who was ruling in Nepal was called Amshu Barma. Amshu Barma was the king of Nepal, and his daughter Brikuti, when she got married with the Tibetan king, took like images and idols of Buddha. The statue of Buddha she took to Tibet. Tibetan king was one of the most popular statue, and also the princess from China. Both of them brought lots of statues of Buddha and maybe lots of teachings of Buddha with them, and that's how like they influenced Tibetan king to establish Buddhism in Tibet. And after that is told, a translator called Thumi Sambota, the name in Tibetan is Thumi Sambota, he sent that translator, before he was translator, sent to India to learn languages and establish or invent a language in Tibet, which they can call their own language, Tibetan language, because like not long ago before than that, it is told that Tibetan people would communicate with gestures, not even a language. So Thumi Sambota, mainly after going to India and learning all kinds of languages, and one of the main source language was Sanskrit. So he took the Sanskrit alphabets and language and the sounds to Tibet, and there is 30 alphabet in Tibetan, and out of them 26 or 25 is supposed to be kind of direct import from the Sanskrit language.